here in Quincy, Washington, back at the Incubator Farm. We have our guest, VP of the West for Yara, Chris Gallo, and he's come out to see what we're applying, why we're going to run this trial, and how that works with our food system.
Show me a potato.
You can see the seed. I'm Brady Stover. My passion is agriculture, agronomy, and sharing my experiences. Join me on my journey through the Pacific Northwest. Earlier we got to visit Weston, where these potatoes will ultimately end up, and potentially at your local McDonald's. And so today we're here to talk to Chris about what we can do with this grower moving forward so that we can help secure the food chain. And we're doing that with our nutrition via fertilizer. So we've done an in-furrow application at planting. We've got great emergence coming, even though we've had a really cold, wet spring. And we're going to look at what we can do moving forward so that we can continually to increase this yield while keeping a low carbon footprint, as that's one of the main goals for this trial, and being more sustainable. So here we're going to dig up a few plants and we're going to check the root structure. So at this point in the growing season, these plants are still using a lot of seed piece energy, and we're waiting for the weather to warm up. Luckily, our soils have come up to about 60 degrees, and we're going to start getting quite a bit of active growth in this root system. And as these roots start to grow these little root hairs, they'll start to bring in the nutrients that we were putting out during planting. And that's why it's so important that we get that in-furrow application. And here we have a good seed piece with about 3 stems. That'll allow us to get a lot of foliage. We'll be able to get that photosynthesis going, and late season, more foliage means more starch up here, and then we will be able to push that starch content down into the tubers so that we have good gravities and we make some good French fries.
Deep are the roots expected to go throughout the season?
Potatoes are actually a really shallow root, which is kind of contrary to belief, because the tuber itself that we consume is a root. But these are actually hilled up and made into a nice bed so that we can give it lots of nutrients and moisture. But really, 1.5 feet is about what a root will go, whereas compared to like a wheat plant that'll go 3 to 5 feet. Mm-hmm. So we have to really baby the root system and make sure that we can fight off disease. We really have to monitor the water so that we don't overwater, which will suffocate the roots, and really give it some calcium and nitrogen, and so that it'll continually push out new roots.
And then the roots themselves, so looking at the root hairs versus the main central roots, what's more efficient at mining the nutrients from the water?
The nutrients themselves will actually come in through the root hairs, and that is why it's so valuable to continually push nutrients so that they continually grow new root hairs and go, because once they've taken the nutrients from one location, such as phosphorus, which is really immobile in the plant, they need to go to another area to get more. And luckily for us, we have irrigation systems so we can resupply that. But in a lot of dryland situations with potatoes, once it's taken that nutrient in that location, it needs to go find more nutrients in a new location.
So when you're talking about this being one of the measurements for this farm is the carbon footprint, what goes into that analysis from start to finish?
Yeah, so typically it's always been measured, from the farm to the consumer, but Yara wants to push that envelope a little further, and we want to showcase how clean we are making our fertilizers, so that we want to start that carbon footprint all the way back to the manufacturing of the source of nutrients for that plant. So we're going to go all the way back to the manufacturing of the fertilizer that is applied to this field, along with all the other products such as fungicides and insecticides if need be.
And comparing that against a grower standard of program?
Yeah, so we really want to take into account the source of the different products.
Very good. Does that then go into a life cycle assessment that goes through to the processing facility?
Yeah.
Would that be the next step?
Absolutely. So, and that's really becoming a customer concern on the end level. And so we're really trying to measure a lot of that so that the customer knows just how much carbon footprint it took to grow that crop. And so we hope to really change the limitations of that to show how maybe we already are to a really sustainable manner, but we need to have measurements and metrics so that we can prove that we're doing that. And if we're not, where can we make adjustments so that, you know, we can have a good sustainable cycle.
Makes sense. What do I do with my hands?
Right?